And beginning with Maxi Kleber, if you have not heard yet, there will be an official update on him given by JJ Redick later today. And yes, it actually will happen. Per Jovan Buha, he said that Redick will talk about it, so I think we can believe that. And Redick will likely talk about if he'll make it back this season. You know, maybe not that far in depth, but something hinting at the optimistic outlook, if he's back on the court, if he's clear for contact and practicing with their team, or if he eventually will and hopefully sooner rather than later. Or then potentially a pessimistic outlook, that he's not recovering well, maybe they'll shut him down, or he's not close to a return. We'll find out more information and that will be relayed later today, so keep your ears and eyes peeled out for that one. But apart from that, and if Kleber will make it back or not this season, what's the actual incentive of him coming back to their team? Not only for their team itself, but then for him individually. And well, for Maxi Kleber, I think there's actually a lot of incentive. No, he might not be under a 1-year contract, is not trying to play for a new contract and therefore more money, not about that, but actual about retaining a spot in their team, not being traded later this season, or rather this offseason. What he's got to prove to make that not happen, and why he's got to actually get back on the court if he wants to stay with their team, which I imagine he does, and playing with Luka Doncic. I mean, after all, they have nothing to base his fit off of. He has yet to play a game for their team, so they really can't say if he's a good fit or a bad fit. Even though he's played with both Luka Doncic and Dorian Finney-Smith before, he's not played for their team and not with JJ Redick, so they really can't say for sure if he would be a good fit or a bad fit, and a good long-term piece of their team or simply going into next season. And until that happens, or if that happens, he's got to get on the court to prove it. He's probably viewed more as a trade chip for their team this summer, rather than a long-term piece for them. And well, that right there is the incentive for Maxi Kleber, getting back on the court so he doesn't get traded, and obviously to be a part of a playoff push too. If you're a player, you're obviously hyper competitive, you don't want to watch your team in the playoffs, you want to be on the court, especially for a team like the Lakers with a very thin front court, and definitely a rotation spot available for Maxi Kleber if he's healthy and can be effective on the court. So again, plenty of incentive for him in my opinion. And then for their team, obviously the incentive with the front court that I mentioned, they have a pretty thin front court, right now composed of Jackson Hayes at center, and that's pretty much it for a true center quote unquote. Also guys like Rui Hachimura, LeBron, Dorian Finney-Smith, and a few others here and there for a small ball lineup, but in regard to a more full-time 5, pretty much only Jackson Hayes, and that's kind of it. So Maxi Kleber could view that and say, hey, I could definitely get in that rotation, I could offer value and different value compared to Jackson Hayes, actually being more of a 3-point shooter, more of a floor spacer on the court, more of a switchable defender and kind of a hybrid player, rather than simply a traditional big that can tend to get played off the court come playoff time. That's the incentive for Maxi Kleber and their team. Definitely a mutual benefit here, and one that they're probably both hoping to work out between them. Maxi Kleber to make it back, earn a spot in the rotation, and hopefully for their rotation next season too. And then for the Lakers, getting a better option in their front court, a more true 5 quote unquote, even though I wouldn't call him a true center exactly, but another option and a very valuable one that could help them in the playoffs. And well, for me personally, I would hold a spot for Maxi Kleber. No, not a guaranteed spot or one that he could not play himself out of if he's not fully healthy, but come playoff time and the versatility that's needed to win in the playoffs, especially in your front court, I think Maxi Kleber could help them. Even if it's in some matchups, I would hold a spot for him and hope that he can come back and make an impact within the rotation.